Let's start. Come. Get that. Get that. Get that. Oh, God. Mm-hmm. Come. God will present thyself.
Pagaiwa, Ban Yahawah, Ban Yashala.
Pagaiwa, Ban Yahawah, Ban Yashala.
Yahabba Shem Yahushua Brakatah.
Yahabba Shem Yahushua Brakatah.
Layasharala.
Madi, which means to stand. Wapaya Hakwadam, which means turn and face the east. You want to say the Lord's Prayer? Abanawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Kadash. Hayah. Shamka. Yahawah. Malakukah. Taba'ah. Ratazayaka. Hayah. I.S.U.P.K. Barataza. Kawah. Hayah. Bashemayim. The thunder now. The come. Cow. Yawam. Wasalak now. Kabwaf now. Kasalak now. Kabwaf now. Wala'ah. Taba'ah now. Wanna say Wall, Abu, Hawashai now, Maya, Ra, Kaya, Laka, Hamalaku, Waha'ala, Watapan, Wawalumium, Amma.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
In earth.
As it is in heaven. Give us this day.
Give us this day.
Our daily bread.
Our daily bread.
Forgive us our debts.
Forgive us our debts.
We forgive our debtors. Lead us not
into temptation.
Deliver us
from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the
power.
And the glory. Forever. So be it. We're going to say, cock the power. Yahawah. By Hashem. Yahushua. By Kashar. The thunder now. A cock. La Pa'ah. Kal Maka'ah. Kal Madawa. A cock. La Tahar. Hamatazariah. A cock. La Hakim. Hamathim. A cock. Akawa. Hatama'ala. The God Shun. By Hashem. Yahushua. The Wadamah. Yahawah.
In the name of Yahushua. Please give us the power.
The power to heal.
All manner of sickness.
And all manner of disease.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to raise the dead.
The power to raise the dead.
The power against unclean spirits.
The power against unclean spirits.
To cast them out.
To cast them out.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
So be it.
So be it.
Thank you. So be it.
Thank you. So be it. Go and say, bless Israel. Yahawah. By Hashem. Yahushua. Barak now. Yahawah. Yashala. Wahabayah. Sapaya. Barak. Rapah. Magun. Hagun. By Hashem. Yahushua. The Wadamah. Yahawah. In the name of Yahushua.
Bless us.
And Israel. And the school. Bless.
Heal.
Shield. Protect.
Our loved ones.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. We'll say Psalms 121. Asha'a. Ayanya. Ahahaya. Ma'ayan. Yaba'a. Isaiah. Ma'ayin. Yahweh. Aisha. Shemaiah. Wa'aratasa. Ayatan. Yamawat. Regalka. Ayanawam. Shamaka. Hana. La'a. Yanawam. Wala'a. Yayashan. Shawama. Yashala. Yahweh. Shemaka. Yahweh. Tazalka. Al-Yad. Yumyaka. Yawamam. Ashamash. La'a. Yakaka. Wayarak. Walayala. Yahweh. Yashemaka. Makara. Yashema. Afnapaska. Yahweh. Yashema. Taza'aka. Wabawaka. Ba'ita. Ba'it Awalam. Duwara Amma.
I will lift up my eyes to the hills.
I will lift up my eyes to the hills.
Whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from Yahweh.
My help cometh from Yahweh.
Which made heaven and earth.
Which made heaven and earth.
Do not suffer thy foot to be moved.
Do not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee.
He that keepeth thee.
Will not slumber.
Behold.
He that keepeth Israel.
He that keepeth Israel.
Shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
Nor the moon by night.
Nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee.
Yahweh shall preserve thee
from all evil.
from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out.
And thy coming in.
And thy coming in.
From this time forth.
From this time forth.
And even forevermore.
And even forevermore. So be it. We'll say Psalms 83. Alahaya. Al-Damai Lakah. Al-Takarash. Al-Tashikwat. Yahanna. Al-Yabika. Yahamayawam. Wamanashnayaka. Nasha'awa. Ra'ash. Al-Aimaka. Yariyamwa. Sawad. Wayatayaitas. Al-Tasapawanyaka. Amawa. Akawa. Walakakida. Magaya. Wala'ah. Yazakah. Shamyasha. Aiwa. Kaya. Nawaitas. La. Yakaba. Al-Yakab. Baya. Yakarathwa. Ahalya. Adawam. Wayashama Slack. Wayashama Alyam. Maba Abba. Wahagaya. The ball. Wa'imawam. Wa'imalak. Palashah. I'm Yashabia. Tazawal. Damashawal. Nalawa. Imam. Ayawa. Zabawa. Abayalawat. Salah. Aishalaham. Kamadya. Kasawasara. Kayabya. Banakol. Kayashwa. Nashamagwa. Ayanda Ira. Ayawa. Dama. La Adama. Shayatamwa. Nadiyamwa. Kaira. Because of Abba. Because of Bak. Because of Zamanai. Kanasaya Kamwa. Ashar. Amawa. Now you're Rashah. Lanawa. Af. Nawa. Alahayam. Alahaya. Shayatamwa. Kagalgala. Kakwash. Kapayawakwa. Ka'ash. Taba'ira. What color her butt? Dalahat. Haryam. Khan. Daradatma. Basa Irika. Ubasa Bapafka. Tabahalam. Mala'ah. Panyaham. Palawam. Wayabakwasha. Shamka. Yahweh. Yabasha. Wayaba'aya. Agi'ai. Wayakapara. Wayabagwa. Wayadaiwa. Kaya. Ata. Shamka. Yahweh. Abaka. Ayawam. Al-Ka'aratiza. The water Amon.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still.
O Yahweh.
For lo.
Thy enemies make a tumble.
And they that hate thee. Have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel. Against thy people.
And consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said. Come. Let's cut them off. From being a nation. In the name of Israel. Maybe no more remembrance. For they have consulted together. With one consent. They have confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom. And the
Israelites.
Moab.
Hagareen.
Baal and Ammon.
And Amalek.
The Philistines.
The Philistines.
The inhabitants Tyre.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
Esther is also joined with them.
Esther is also joined with
They
them.
have opened the children of Lot.
They have opened the children of Lot.
Salah. Do unto them.
Do unto them.
As unto the Midianites.
As unto the Midianites.
As to Sisera.
And to Sisera.
As to Jabin.
And to Jabin.
At the brook of Kishon.
At the brook of Kishon.
Which perished at Endor.
Which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like a rib.
Make their nobles like a rib.
And like Zaeb.
Yea.
All their princes.
All their princes.
As
Zabah.
As Amudah.
Who said,
let us take to ourselves.
let us take to ourselves.
House of Yahweh possession.
The house of Yahweh possession.
Oh my power.
Oh my power.
Make them like a wheel.
Make them like a wheel.
As a stubble before the wind.
As a stubble before the wind.
As the fire burns the wood.
As the fire burns the wood.
As the flame set the mountains on fire.
As the flame set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them.
So persecute them.
With thy tempest.
With thy tempest.
And make them afraid.
And make them afraid.
With thy storm.
With thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame.
Fill their faces with shame.
That they may seek thy name.
That they may seek thy name.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
Let them be confounded.
Let them be confounded.
Trouble forever.
Trouble forever.
Yea.
Yea.
Let them be put to shame.
Let them be put to shame.
And perish.
And perish.
That men may know.
That men may know.
That thou.
Whose
name alone.
Whose name alone.
Is Yahweh.
Is Yahweh.
Art the most high.
Art the most high.
Of all the earth.
Of all the earth.
So be it.
So be it. Shah, which means to turn. The Shabbat, which means to be seated.
All right, men up here, Yeshabim, which means to be seated. We're going to continue on where we left off last week in the Hebrew. We're going to get Nehemiah 13, 17 through 24. This is Nehemiah chapter 13 and verse 17. Yeah, 13 and 17. Wa ara yaba af karya Yahawada wa amara laham maha hadabar harai Harai, Hazah, Ashar, Athum, Ashayum, Wa, Ma, Chala, Layum, Ath, Yawam, Hashabath. Verse 18. Ha, Lawa'a, Kaha, Aishawa, Abath Yakam, Waya, Ba'a, Allah. Alahayanwa, Al Yanwa, Ath, Kal, Ha'ira, Ha'za'ath, Wa'al, Ha'ayar. Ha'ayar, Ha'za'ath, Wa'athum, Ma wasa yapyum harawan al yasha'ala la khalat la af hashabath. Verse 19. Wa yahaya kashar taza lalawa sha'ai raya yara wa shalom lapanya hashabath wa Atha Slake wa Amara Waya Sagarwa Hadalath Watha Wa Amara Ashar La'a Ya Pathak Wama I Ahar Hashabath Wama Na'ai Raya Ha'ai Madathya Al Ha sha'ai riyam la'a ya bawa'a ma sha'a bayawam ha shabath. Verse 20. Waya la yanwa ha rakalyam wa mak wa makaria kal mama kara Ma Chawataza, Laya Ra wa Shalom, Pa'im, Pa'im, Shathayim. Verse 21. Wa'a Ayada, Baham, wa Amara, Alahayim, Ma Dawai, Atham, Lana Yum, Nagad, Haha Wama, Ama, Thama, Salakia, Ama, Tha Shanwa, Yad, Ashalak, Bakam, Mana, Ha'aitha, Haha Ya'a, La'a, Ba'a Wa, Ba Shabbath, verse 22. Wa Amara, Lala Wayum, Ashar, Hay Yahayawa, Ma Taharyam, Waba Ayam, Shamaryam, Ha Sha'irayam, La Kodash, Ath Yawam, Hashabath, Gum, Za'ath, Zachariah, Laya, Al Haya, Waka, Wasa, Al Karaba, Ha Sadak, verse 23, Gum, Bayum, Haham, Yathaya, Ath, Ha Yahawadam, Slakia, Ha Yahawadayam, Ha Shiyabwa, Nashayam, Shadawadaya Wath, Ima Wan Yawath, Ma Wa'a Bayawath, verse 24, Wabanyaham, Ha Tazaya, Ma Dabar, Shadawadaya Yatha, Wa'a Yanama, Ma Kayaryam, Ledabar, Yahweh Dath, Slaka, Yahweh Dayath, Kalasha Wan, Wa'im. We'll continue on in English. That was Nehemiah 13, 17 through 24.
Come. Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 17. Then I contended with the nobles of Judah and said unto them, what evil thing is this that ye do, and profane the Sabbath day? Verse 18. Did not your fathers thus, and did not our God bring all this evil upon us and upon this city? Yet ye bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath. Verse 19. And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut, and charged that they should not be open till after the Sabbath.
Hold on. Before you go on, when he's talking about they're profaning the Sabbath, they're not talking about how Israelites were cooking a arroz con pollo, or cooking some oxtails, or making some fried chicken, or pushing an electronic button. That has nothing to do with profaning the Sabbath. What these people were doing was actually buying, or actually selling, like the things that they do for work, for a slave, to earn money. That's what they were doing on the Sabbath, and the Most High says we are not to do that on the Sabbath. So this is what he was saying, they were profaning the Sabbath. Not going in an elevator, not turning the light on, not turning the stove and oven on. If you think about it, these people can't even take a hot bath. Why? Because how you going to get the hot water? These some stinking bastards. I know why the fake people do that, because they some nasty bastards. That's one thing they haven't stole that they need to steal. They need to take that and take hold of that. Bathe every day. Sloggy, you have some?
Oh, Sloggy, sir. And for the fake Israelites who sit here now like, oh, nah, he ain't teaching right. I got a direct cut if I may.
Well, this is the cut. We're gonna keep going, but yeah, go ahead.
The book of Mark, chapter 2, verse 23. And it came to pass that he went through the cornfields on the Sabbath day, and his disciples began as they went to pluck the ears of corn on the Sabbath day.
Yeah, and they came up against Christ and his disciples for doing that, and he had to check them. He was like, "Yo, if any of y'all had your ox or your ass that was laying in the ditch, would y'all just leave it there? No. So shut the up." That's what he said. You have some?
Feed your kids.
Exactly. Feed your kids. Feed your kids. Some dumb slacky. Keep going.
Kind of a con.
I shouldn't have to say that, but goddamn. Keep going.
Verse 19. And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut, and charged that they should not be opened till after the Sabbath. And some of my servants set I at the gates, that there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath day. Verse 20. So the merchants and sellers of all kind of ware lodged without Jerusalem once or twice.
So this is what happened. The gates were closed on the Sabbath. They came by to sell their wares, and they saw that the gates was closed. This is what they were talking about, profaning the Sabbath. Keep going.
Kind of a con, verse 21. Then I testified against them.
What does that mean? He didn't feel with, he wasn't doing that.
Right.
He wasn't not testifying. He wasn't doing that. He's going up there and telling these niggas, hey, this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna put my paws on you if you keep this up. Right. Keep going.
Kind of a con. Then I testified against them and said unto them, why lodge ye about the wall? If ye do so again, I will lay hands on you.
What does that mean? What does that mean? That doesn't mean he's gonna go over like Peter Popoff and a whole road just lay out, lay hands. Nah, that's not what it means. That's not what it means.
Shalaki, for you Christians who might think so, no, he didn't just say, "Oh Lord," and put his hands on them. No, laid hands on them.
They don't say "be gone" and just tap your head and you drop off. No, that is not what it means. What he's saying is, if y'all keep coming back on this, yo, I'm gonna lump you up.
It's like you said, these here are gonna steal you.
Yeah. Exactly. This is what laying of the hands is all about. Not that phony garbage that the Christian churches be doing. That ain't laying the hands. If you in the church and someone says, I'm gonna lay hands on you, you need to take fighting stance. Like, come on, let's go. Because that's what it means. That's what Nehemiah said. Not what these effeminate, men up in the church be saying, hey, I'm gonna lay hands on you. No, it ain't nothing like that.
Slack, let me slack it one more time. Because usually when they lay hands on you, and especially when they doing with like young men, it looks like they're filling you up.
Enough said. Enough said. Yo, hey. Monkeypox is gonna devastate the Christian church. Hear what I'm telling you. Monkeypox is going to devastate that church. If you are in the church, do not go. Get out. Get out. Let's keep going.
Come.
Lay hands on you. Slack it.
I will lay hands on you. From that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath.
See, they knew what the hell it meant. They knew what the hell it meant. They never came on the Sabbath day from that time forth. Keep going.
Come, verse 22. And I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves, and that they should come and keep the gates to sanctify the Sabbath day. Remember me, O my God, concerning this also, and spare me according to the greatness of thy mercy. Verse 23. In those days also saw our Jews that married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Moab. Verse 24. And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people.
It's a damn shame. We're going to keep going. Nehemiah 13, 25 to 31. 25, yeah. Verse 25. Wa our Yah. I am a ma wa quala lum wa aka maham anayashim wa amar slakia wa ratam wa ash baya aim ba alahayim ama Thathanwa ba natha yakam labunyahum wa ama tha sha'awa ma bun ma banathayahum labunyakam wa walakam. Verse 26. Hala wa al Allah ha ta'a shalom malak yasha'ala wa waba gawayam ha rabayam la'a haya malak ka mahawa wa'a hawab la'a lahaya wa haya waya thun hawa al yaham malak al kal yasha'ala gum wathawa ha kata ya'awa ha nashayim ha nakar yawath. Verse 27. Wa lakam ha na shama'ai la'ai shatha ath kal ha ra'ai ha gada wala ha za'ath la'ai lama al ba'al hayanwa laha shayab nashiyam na karaya wath. Verse 28. Wa mabunya yawa ya wa yada'ai ban ala yashya yaba hakahan ha gada wal Chathan la sanabalat ha karanya wa'a barat yakahawa ma'al. Verse 29. Zachariah slakia Zachara laham alaya al ga'al ga'al haka ha ka hana wa rayath haka hana wa ha lawayam. Verse 30. Wata harathiam makal nakar awa slakia wa I'm yada ma shamar wath la laka hanyam wala lawayam ayash bama laak la akathwa. Verse 31. Wa la quar ban Ha'ai Taziyam, Ba'ai Thiyam, Maza Manawath, Wa Labak, Wa Labaka Waryam, Zakara, Laya, Alaya, La Leto to Waba. So that's it. Continue on in English. Nehemiah 13, 25 through 31.
Come. Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 25. And I contended with them and cursed them and smote certain of them and plucked off their hair and made them swear by God, saying, Ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves.
So so he is he's acting very harshly against people. But you know, even though this is harshly, you know, what he cursed them, pulling the hair, you know, pluck the hair from the head, whatnot, that is far easy. They're getting let off easy. What I'm saying, why? Because that's you're supposed to be cut off from the congregation. You take a woman from another nation. Not only your kids can't come in, you got to go. You got to go.
Right.
Romans 6 and 23, it says, for the wages of sin is death. That's a sin. You're gonna die. So this is very easy what he's doing, even though it may sound harsh. Let's keep going.
Come. Verse 26. Did not Solomon, the king of Israel, sin by these things? Yet among many nations was there no king like him, who was beloved of his God, and God made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, even him did outlandish women cause to sin. Verse 27. Shall we then hearken unto you to do all this great evil, to transgress against our God in marrying strange wives? Verse 28. And one of the sons of Joiada, the son of Eliashib, the high priest, was son-in-law to Sanballat, the Horonite. Therefore I chased him from me. Verse 29. Remember them, O my God, because they have defiled the priesthood and the covenant of the priesthood and of the Levites. Verse 30. Thus cleansed I them from all strangers and appointed the wards of the priests and the Levites, everyone in his business. Verse 31. And for the wood offering at times appointed, and for the first fruits, remember me, oh my God, for good.
Most High in Christ. We're going to keep on going. We're going to get Esther 1 through 7. This is one of my favorite books, Esther. Just see how hardcore this sister was and what she actually went through to save her people. This is Esther chapter 1 and 1. Wa Yahaya by Yumya Akash War Washa Hawa Akasha Akasha War Washa Hamalak Mahadawa Wa'ai Kawash Shabai Wa'ai Sharyam Wa Ma'a Madai Yana. Verse 2. Bayamya Haham Kashabath Hamalak Akasha Wara Washa Al Kasa'a Malak Wathawa Ashar Washa Washan Ha Bayara. Verse 3. Bashanath Shalawash Lamalakwa Aisha Ma Shatha Lakal Sharyawa Wa'ai Slakia. Wa Ibadyawa. Hayal. Parasa. Wa Madya. Ha Parath. Ha Parathumyam. Washarya. Ha Madaya na watha. Lapanya wa. Verse 4. Baha Ra'athwa. Ath. Ishar. Ka Bawad. Malak Wathawa. Wa'ath. Yaquar. Tha Para'ath. Gada Walathwa. Yum. Rabayam. Shamawanyam. Wa Ma'ath. Yawam. Verse 5. Waba Mala Wa'ath. Hayum. Ha Allah. Aisha. Hamalak. Lakal. Ha'im. Hanama Taza Aya. Ba Shawashan. Haba Yara. Lama Gadawal. Wa'ai. Quatan. Ma Shatha. Shaba Aitha. Yum. Ba Baha Tazar. Ganath. Bayathan. Hamalak. Verse 6. Kawar. Kara Pasa. Wa Slakia. Watha. Kalath. Kawaza. Baka Balaya. Bawa Taza. Wa Aragam Man Slakia. Wa Aragamana. Al. Gala Yalaya. Kasap. Wa'ai Mawadia. Shasha. Matawath. Zahab. Wa Kasap. Al. Rataza Path. Bahat. Wa Shashath. Slakia. Wa Shashath. The war. Slakia. Wa Dara. Wa Saharath. Verse 7. Waha Shakawath. Bakalia. Zahab. Wa Kalyam. Makalyam. Wa Shunyam. Wa Yayan. Malak Watha. Rabah. Chayad. Hamalak. We're going to continue on in English. Esther 1:1-7. Most High in Christ. The water, sis. Right on time, every time. The water. I'm going to get down.
Come. Esther chapter 1 verse 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. This is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces. Verse 2. That in those days, when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan the palace. Verse 3. In the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him.
So right here, it's telling you just about how powerful this King Ahasuerus is and the lands he controlled. If you can look at the map, see where India is, and he controlled from India all the way goddamn down to Ethiopia. That's how much territory he controlled. And in this time, the Persian and the Medes basically controlled the earth. They were the superpower at this point in time. Just to let you know what's going on in this story. Let's keep going.
Verse 4. When he shewed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 140 days.
How much is that?
104 days.
180 days. What was that? 6 months? That's 6 months. So it took 6 months to show off his kingdom. That's how vast his kingdom was. It took 6 months to show off. Basically, that's what he's doing. He's showing off his kingdom. Let's keep going.
Verse 5. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan, the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days, in the court of the garden of the king's palace.
This niggas party for 7 days. Keep going.
Verse 6, verse 6. Where were white, green, and blue hangings, fastened with cords of fine linen and purple to silver rings and pillars of marble.
Look at the type of people wearing purple.
The beds were of gold and silver upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black marble. Verse 7. And they gave them drink in vessels of gold, the vessels being diverse one from another, and royal wine in abundance according to the state of the king.
So they were drinking from vessels that was all different. All of them were gold and all of them were different. It's just showing you his wealth. We're going to keep on going. That's the 1, 8 through 14. This is verse 8. Waha Shathaya Kadath Ayun Anasa Kaya Khan Yasad Hamalak Al Kal Rabah Bayathwa La'ai Shawath Karatazawan Ayash Wa Ayash. Verse 9. Gum Wa Washathya Hamalaka Aishatha Ma Shatha Na Shaya Shlakya Na Shayam Bayath Hamalak Watha Ashar Lamalak Akasha Wara Washa. Verse 10. Bayawam Ha Shabaya Yaaya Katawab Laba Hamalak Baya Yana Amar Laham Slakya Lama Ha Wamana Baza Tha'a Kara Bawan Na'a Bagath Tha'a Wa'a Bagatha'a Zathar Waka Rakas Kasa Shaba'ith Ha Sarayas Yesayam Ha Shamarathiam Ath Panya Hamalak Aka Shah Wara Washa. Verse 11. Laha Baya'a Ath Wa Shathaya Hamalaka Lapanya Hamalak Baka Bak Ba Kathar Malakwath Ha Slakia Laha Ra'awath Ha'im Yum Wa Hasharyam Ath Yapaya Yapaya Kaya Tawabath Ma Ra'a Haya'ah. Verse 12. Wa Thama'an Ha Malaka Shafia, Laba Wa'a, the Bud Bar, Hamalak, Ashar, Bayad, Hasa Ra, Yasam, Yak Tazapa, Hamalak, Ahmad, Waka, Kamathwa, Ba'ira, Bawa. Verse 13, Amar, Hamalak, Wakak, La, Hakamyam, Yada'aya, Ha, Yathayam, Chaya, Khan, Dabar, Hamalak, Lapanya, Kal, Yadaya, Slakya, Datha, what a yun. Verse 14, Waha, Rabah, Aliyawa, Ka, Rashana'a, Shathar, Ada, Matha'a, Tha, Tharasha, Yasha, Ma, Rasa, Mara, Sana'a, Mama, Wakan, Shaba'itha, Sharya, Parasa, Wamadya, Araya, Panya, Hamalak, Yaha, Slakia, Ha, Yeshabiam, Ra'ah, Shana, Malakwath. We'll continue on in English. The Esther was at 1, 8 through 14.
Esther chapter 1, verse 8. And the drinking was according to the law. None did compel. For so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house, that they should do according to every man's pleasure. Verse 9. Also Vashti the queen made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to King Ahasuerus. Verse 10. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Bizda, Salaki. Verse 10. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Bizda, Harbona, Bigda, and Abagda, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king. Verse 11, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to shew the people and the princess her beauty, for she was fair to look on.
So he done told all these chamberlains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 chamberlains. He done told 7 chamberlains to go get my wife. And this funky dog had, something or another, disobeyed the king in front of basically the entire earth. He invited, because you can see the land he controlled. He invited everybody from around there to come view his kingdom, and he had a big party, and everybody was there. And he was like, "Hey man, I got the baddest rib on the earth. I'm gonna go get her. All you chambermaids, go and get my wife. Go and get my rib." And this funky dog had, something or another, just like, "No, I ain't doing it." Okay. Okay, keep going.
Is
that it?
La.
Okay, keep going.
Verse 12. But the queen Vashti refused to come to the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him.
Anybody seen, I know everybody seen Training Day. You gonna do this to me? In front of all these people? Nah. Keep going.
Verse 13. Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner towards all that knew law and judgment. Verse 14. And the next unto him was Karshina, Shethar, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Marsina, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the kingdom.
So they was close by the king, not just in proximity, but they worked with the king, you know, on a regular basis. And all these people knew what would happen to the person that disobeyed the king's order. So this is what's going on. Right? We're going to continue on in Hebrew, Esther 1:15 through 21. Kadath, Maha, La'ai Shawath, Ba Malaka, Wa Washathia, Al, Ashar, La'a, Aishatha, Ath, Ma Amar, Hamalak, Akasha, Wara Washa, Bayad, Hasa Ra Yasayam. Verse 16, Wayamar, Ma Wa Makan, Lapanya, Hamalak, Waha Wa Hashariam, La'a Al Hamalak, Labadwa, Iwatha, Washathia, Hamalaka, Kaya, Al, Kal, Hashariam, Wa'al, Kal, Ha'imyam, Ashar, Bakal, Madah, Yunwatha, Hamalak, Akasha, Wara, Washa. Verse 17, Kaya, Yataza'ah, Dabar, Hamalaka, Al, Kal, Nashayim, Laha, Bazawath, Baal, Yahan, Ba'i, Yun, Yahan, Ba, Amaram, Hamalak, Akasha, Wara, Washa, Amar, Laha, Baya'ah, Ath, Washathia, Hamalaka, Lapanya Wala'a, Ba'a, verse 18, Waha, Hayawam, Hazah, Tha'ah, Rana, Sharawath, Slakia, Sharwath, Parasa, Wamadya, Ashar, Shamaiwa, Ath, Dabar, Hamalaka, Lakal, Sharia, Hamalak, Wakadia, Baza Yawan, Tazapa. Verse 19, Amah, Al, Hamalak, Tawab, Yataza'ah, Dabar, Malakwath, Ma Lapanyawa, Ya Kathab, Bada Badathia, Parasa, Madya, Wala'a, Slakia, Ya'i, Bawar, Ashar, La'a, Tha, Bawa'a, Washathia, Lapanya, Hamalak, Akasha, Wara, Washa, Wa Malaka, Watha, Yathan, Hamalak, La Ra'i, Watha, Hata Waba, Mama, Slakia, Mana. Verse 20. Wa na Shama'ai, Pa Thagum, Hamalak, Ashar, Ya'isha, Bakal, Malakwathwa, Kaya, Rabah, Haya'ah, Wakal, Nashayim, Yathunwa, Yaquar, Laba Yahan, Laba Slakia, Lama got a wall, Wa'al, Slakia, Wa'id, Quatan, verse 21, Wa Yataba, Hadabar, Ba'ai Yunya, Hamalak, Waha, Wa Hashariam, Waya Aisha, Hamalak, Kadabar, Mamo Wakan. We'll continue on in English. That is Esther chapter 1, 15 through 21.
Esther chapter 1, verse 15. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to law? Because she hath not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains. Verse 16. And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen hath not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in the provinces of the king Ahasuerus. Verse 17. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes.
Even the heathens know that if someone who's set in power that does something, everybody who looks up to that person is going to do the same thing what they do. So they can't take this slight to the king that was in front of everybody. They just can't let this go. We're going to have to do something about it. Keep going.
When it shall be reported, the king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not.
She disobeyed again. Like, come on, man, you're just making this worse. But it's going to all work out for us. We're going to keep reading and we're going to find out exactly how. Just keep going.
Verse 18. Likewise, shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen. Thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath. Verse 19. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she.
Yeah, he's going to give it to someone else that is better than her. She can't even, she was so, disrespectful. I don't even like to say this, but like, how the way when Melania Trump was walking down with the orange guy, and he tried to hold her hand, and she was like, "Nah, get off me." Right. Even that's a little bit better. That's better than what this trick did. She didn't even come. She wouldn't even walk down. The get off the plane with this dude. Like, are you serious? In front of everybody. It's like the what is it? The State of the Union, when everybody's watching, all the Congress comes and hears the president talk once a year or whatever, and this trick don't come. Like, nah. You had some?
Yeah, sounded like she was trying to set the tone for the FNF.
Yeah, exactly. Well, she about to be FREE. Right. Let's keep going.
Verse 20. And when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. Verse 21. And the saying pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Memucan.
Damn, so it had to be a royal decree for the woman to behave. Now you can't even say, hey, when I come home, it'll be toxic masculinity if I say, hey, when I come home, can you greet me? Can you give me some strong or some wine or whatever, or a glass of water? Can you do that for me? If you say something like that, you're toxic. You know what I'm saying? Keep going. No, Slocky, you got something?
Slocky, not only just for the king had to set an example, because she was setting a bad example for all the women of the land, of the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? So if he'd have let that go, all the women would have been acting like that.
If he would have let it go, then it would have been, a whole bunch of the, stopping at the red lights, twerking on what? I forget. I don't even know the words. But yeah, it would have been a whole lot of that. It would have been a whole lot of wops. It would have been a whole lot of it would have been a whole lot of shims. It would have been a whole lot of effeminate, men. They couldn't allow this to take place. You had something?
The concert, just like courage and cowardice, disrespect is also contagious.
Right, exactly. And with that, men up here, I say, imagine, you need to stand. Mataya, present thyself.
Mataya, bun yum yum, bun yasharala.
Mataya, ban yum yum, ban yashala.
Y'all by Shem, y'all shop Rakathon.
Y'all by Shem, y'all shop Rakatha.
All right, men up here, you're shopping, which means to be seated. We're going to continue on in Hebrew. Esther 1:21 and 22, and then 2:1 through 6. Verse 22, Warrior Shalak, Saparium, Al, Cal, Madayan Watha, Hamalak, Al, Madah, Ma, Dayana, Wa Mad Dayana, Kaka Thaba, Wa Al, Aim, Wa Aim, Kala, Ka, Shawanwa, Laha Yawath, Kal, Ayash, Shashar, Slakia, Shah Rara, Baba Yathwa, Wama the Bar, Kala Shawan, I'm a what? Esther 2:1, Akar, Hadabarium, Ha Allah, Kashar, Slacker, Ka Shaka, Ka Kamatha, Hamalak, Aka Shawar, Washa, Zakar, Ath, Wa Shathia, Wa'ath, Ashar, Aishatha, Wa'ath, Ashar, Nagazar, Aliyah, verse 2, Waya Marwa, Na'ai, Raya, Hamalak, Ma Slakia, Ma Sharathia wa, Ya Ba Kwashawa, Lamalak, Na'ai, Rawath, Bath, Wa La Watha, Tawab Watha, Ma Ra'ah, verse 3, Waya Poquad, Hamalak, Pa Koyadium, Bakal, Madah, Ma De Yun Watha, Malaka Wathawa, Wayak Batazawa, Ath, Kal, Na'ira, Ba Thawala, Tawabath, Mara, Al, Washash, Wa Slakia, Shawashan, Ha Bayara, Al Bayath, Hanash, Ha Nashayim, Al Yad, Ha Ga'a, Sarah Yasa, Hamalak, Shamar, Hanashim, Wathan, Slakia, Wanatha, Wana, Thawan, Thamar Rawak, Yaham, verse 4, Waha, Na'ira, Ashar, Thaya Taba, Ba'ai, Ba'ayunya, Hamalak, Thamalak, Lakath, Washathia, Yatab, Hadabar, Ba'ayunya, Hamalak, Waya Aisha, Khan. Verse 5. Ayash, Yahweh Wadaya, Haya, Basha, Shun, Ha, but by your Ra, Washamwa, Ma Radakia, Ban, Yara, Ban, Shama'aya, Ban, Koyash, Ayash, Yunya. Verse 6, Ashar, Ha La'a, Ma Yara Shalayim, Aim, Ha Gala, Ashar, Ha Galatha, Aim, Yakanya, Malak, Yahawada, Ashar, Ha Gala, Naba, Ka, the Na'ah Tazar, Malak, Babal. Verse 7, Yahaya.
6.
Oh, but 6. Okay, that was it. We're going to continue on. Esther 1:22 and then 2:1-6.
This is the book of Esther, chapter 1, verse 22. For he sent letters into all the king's province, into every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people.
It's a shame that you have to actually write a law that, you're the authority in your own house. But 90% of the rules are made up for 10% of the people. Let's keep going.
It's the book of Esther, chapter 2, verse 1. After these things, when the wrath of the king Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what was decreed against her. Verse 2. Then said the king's servants and ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought before the king. Verse 3.
Sweet young fine thing. That's what he said. Go out and find some sweet young fine things that will take the place of this raggedy old stubborn heifer.
Verse 3. And let the king appoint officers in all the province of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the young all together. Verse 3. And let the king appoint officers in all the province of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan, the palace, to the house of the woman, unto the custody of Hedge, the king's chamberlain, keeper of the woman, and let their things for purification be given them. Verse 4.
So it's sort of like a concept, like a Miss America. Gather all the bad things from all the provinces, and then gather up, and then the top one from each place comes over here, and they get purified in this place, and then they're going to get chosen from out of all the bad ones. Mm-hmm. Keep going.
Come. Verse 4. And let the maiden which pleaseth the king be queen instead of Vashti. Instead of Vashti. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so. Verse 5. Now in Shushan, the palace, there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jar, the son of Shami, Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite. Verse 6, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, who Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away.
Real quick, this is another precept where it tells you that this person who was a Jew, this certain person who was a Jew, his name was Mordecai, and then it goes through his lineage, which it turns out he's a Benjamite. So it's not only just people from the tribe of Judah who are called Jews, but it's other members of Israel that were called Jews as well. We're going to keep on going. Get the last one. Esther 2, 7 through 13. Where am I? 7. So, verse 7. Yahaya. Mana. Ath. Ha. Dasa. Ha. Ya'a. Sathar. Bath. Dadawa. Kaya. Ayan. Laha. Abba. Wa'am. Wahan, Na'ira, Yapath, Tha'ar, Tha'ara, Watawab, Tha, Mara'a, Waba, Mawath, Abaya, Ama, La Kwaka, Maradakya, Lawa, Labath, verse 8, Yahaya, Hashemai, the Bar, Hamalak, Wadathwa, Waba, Hakwa, Bataza, Na'ai Rawath, Bawath, Al, Shawashan, Haba Yara, Al, Yad, Hagaya, Watha, Laquak, Asa, Sathar, Al, Bayath, Hamalak, Ath, Yad, Hagaya, Shamar, Ha, Neshayim. Verse 9. Watha, Yata. It's like a Watha, Yatab. Ha, Na'ira. Ba'ai, Yunya wa. Watha, Sha'ah, Chasad. Lapanya wa. Waya, Bahal, Ath. Thamar, Wakwa ya, Wa'ath, Mana Watha, La Thatha, Laha, Wa'ath, Shaba'ai, Hana'ai, Rawath, Ha Ra'a Yawath, La Thath, Lahum, Ba Slaka, Mabayath, Hamalak, Waya Shana, Wa'ath, Na'ai Rawa Thaya, La Tawab, Bayath, Ha Nashayim, verse 10, La'ah, Hagayada, Sathar, Ath, Ima, Wa'ath, Slakia, Ma, La Datha, Kaya, Maradakya, Tazawa, Alya, Ashar, La'ah, Thaga Yad, verse 11, Wa Bakal, Yawam, Wayawam, Maradakya, Slakya, Ma, Halak, Lapanya, Katazar, Bayath, Ha Nashayim, La Da'itha, Ath, Shalom, Asarath, wa Ma, Ya, Aisha, Baha. Verse 12, Wa Ba, Hagar Yai Thar Thra Salakia Naira Wa Naira La Bawa'a Al Hamalak Akasha Wara Washa Ma Quataza Yahayawath Slaka Hayawath Laha Kadath Ha Nashayim Shanyam Ishar Kadash Kaya Khan Ya Malaawa Yumya Mara Wakwa Yahan Shasha Kadashyam Ba Shamana Hamar Wa Shasha Kadashyam Baba Shamya Wabath Mara Wakwaya Ha Slaka Ha Nashim, verse 13. Wabaza Hana Ra Ba'a Al Hamalak Ath Kal Ashar Tha'amar Yanathan Laha La Bawa'a Ima Ma Bayath Hanashim I Bayath Hamalak. We'll continue on. Closes out with Esther 2, 7 through 13.
This is the book of Esther, chapter 2, verse 7. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter. For she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter.
So he raised up Esther as his own when her parents were died. It didn't say if they were killed or what, but they died. They passed away. So he took and raised her on as his own daughter. And just like he's raising her as his own daughter, you're going to see the values that he's instilled upon her, to whereas she's going to come in position to save her nation. Right? Keep going.
Verse 8. So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, Salaki. Mm-hmm. And when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan, the palace, to the custody of Higai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Higai, keeper of the woman. Verse 9.
I don't want that job, Slocky.
Verse 9.
Yeah.
When it said many maidens were brought up to him, if I could be wrong, but in the law, when you marry a wife, and if she wasn't, if she's had sex before, you could bring out and say she was. The law says he could come out and say she was no maid, meaning she had sex before. She wasn't, she's been with the man before. Like in Israel, that's the word, not virgin, but maid for a woman who hasn't had sex.
Wait, what?
Like in the law, when a father marries a man off to his daughter, he's supposed to bring the bed sheets to show that she was a maid. Come on.
Yeah. Pull that scripture.
Come. Esther chapter 2, verse 9. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him, and she speedily gave her things for purification, with such things as belonged to her. and 7 maidens which were meant to be given her out of the king's house, and he preferred her and her maidens and her maids onto the best place of the house of the women.
So automatically, as soon as she came into the house, this keeper of Hegai, keeper of the woman, showed favor to her and gave her the best stuff and placed her in the best place of this house for this whole purification ceremony. You found what you was looking for?
God. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22, verse 14. And give occasions of speech and give occasions of speech against her, and bring up an evil name upon her, and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid. That's in content. This is when after being married, if he found that she had sex before, he would have to say so. And after that, the father would bring, if he went in there and got the bed sheets and saw blood, he would bring her, this is Deuteronomy 22 and 14. He would bring that to the elders and say, this man is accusing my daughter of having, have had, not being virtuous as I raised her to be, by calling her not a maid.
Okay, I see what you're saying, but what did that have to do with this scripture that we was reading?
We talking about maidens. I was basically kind of like asking, we talking about the same thing. Is maid that not having sex, or is maidens that something different?
No. So okay, so all right, I see what you're saying.
Pointing out the difference about a female who's not, who had sex but said that
is not married.
They never did, but she actually slept with somebody.
Right.
But this is to prevent those who use his sisters and throwing them away. That's why that law is there.
Right. Yeah, because
that's the problem with Christianity. You sleep with whoever, then just dump them.
And dump concert.
The Lord got a measure for all that.
Concert, yeah. And if you just read one verse up, it says, if a man take a wife and he go into her and he hate her, and then goes on into that this is exactly to prevent a man from throwing away his woman.
Right.
Did that answer your question?
It really. I was more so in the verse though, like it said she had 7 maidens. So is that the same thing as a maid? That's what I was
in this context, these were her servants.
Okay, so a maid was just a servant.
Yeah. Okay, she had helpers around her.
Okay.
So that's what that meant in this context.
In that context, is many nobody. What's another way to say maid? I think old quick English, lady.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what they're talking about right there.
Come. All right, let's keep going.
Come. This is the book of Esther, chapter 2, verse 10. Esther had not shewed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not shew it.
So what he's saying is she never told anybody she was a Jew because her uncle told her, don't tell anybody, don't tell nobody. What Pop says? Shh, don't tell nobody. And that's exactly what she did, because that's how she was raised to do, follow orders. Right?
Come. Verse 11. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the woman's house to know how Esther did and what should become of her.
So even though she was, of marriageable age, he still went, and she's not married right now. He still went and checked on her every single day without fail, just like she was his own daughter. Right? Keep going.
Come. Verse 12. Now when every maid's turn was come to go into King Ahasuerus, after that she had been 12 months, according to the manner of the woman. So were the days of their purifications accomplished, to wit, 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors, and with other things for the purifying of the women.
All right. So the 6 months they was purifying themselves for the king. So 12 months. Keep going.
Come. Verse 13. Then thus came every maiden unto the king, whatsoever she desired was given her to go with her out of the house of the women onto the king's house.
That's it. Most High in Christ. Anybody else have any questions before I close it out? No? And with that, men up here, I say Amijah, which means to stand. If you could.
Stop.
La Yasharal.
Madim, which means to stand. Upon Yahanna, which means to turn the face to the east. Let's say the Lord's Prayer. Abinawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Kadash. Hayah. Shamka. Yahweh. Malakufka. Taba'ah. Ratazayaka. Hayah. I.S.U.P.K. Ba'aratazah. Kawa. Hayah. Bashemayim. The thunder now. The calm. Cow. The worm. Wasalaka now. Kabawaf now. Wasalak now. Kabawaf you now. Wala'ah. Taba'ah now. Wanasay your worm. Abo. I'm shy now. Maya, Ra, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Wahatapar, Wawalamim, Amah.
In English, our Father.
Our Father.
Which art in heaven.
Hallowed
be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth.
In earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day.
Our daily bread.
Our daily bread.
Forgive us our debts.
Give us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
We forgive our debtors.
And lead us not.
And lead us not
to temptation.
to temptation.
But deliver us.
From evil.
From evil. Thine is the kingdom.
Thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever. So be it.
So be it. We'll say Hakak the power. Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Yahweh Shai. Baba Kashah. Thunder now. Hakak. Hakak. La Pa'ah. Ka Maka'ah. Ka Marawa. Hakak. Latahar. Hamatazariah. Hakak. Ahakia. Amakia. Hakak. Akawa. Atama'ala. Agashun. Ba'ashem. Yahweh Shai. Tuwadama.
In English, Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Please give us the power.
Please give us the power.
Power to heal.
Power to heal.
All manner of sickness.
All manner of sickness.
And all manner of disease.
And all manner of disease.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
Power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to raise the dead.
Power to raise the dead.
Power against unclean spirits.
Power against unclean spirits.
Cast them out.
Cast them out.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. We'll say, bless Israel, Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Yahweh Shai. Barak Lenawa. Wayasha'ala. Wahabiyah. Sapariah. Barak. Rapah. Magun. Ba'ashem. Yahweh Shai. Tuwadama.
In English, Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Bless us. In Israel. And the school. Bless. Heal. Shield. Protect. Our loved ones. In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you. So be it.
So be it. We're going to say Psalms 121. Asha'ah. Ayanya. Ahahaya. Ma'ayah. Yaba'ah. Isaiah. Ma'ay. Yahweh. Aisha. Shemaiah. Wa'aratazah. Ayathan. Lamawat. Reganka. Ayanawam. Shamaka. Hana. La'ah. Yanawam. Wala'ah. Yayashun. Shawamah. Yasha'Allah,
Yasha'Allah,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Shemaka,
Shemaka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Tazalka,
Tazalka,
Al-Yad,
Al-Yad,
Yamyaka,
Yamyaka,
Yawamam,
Yawamam,
Hashemash,
Hashemash,
La'ah,
La'ah,
Yakaka,
Yakaka,
Wayarak,
Wayarak,
La-Yalah,
Walayalah,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yashemaka,
Yashemaka,
Makara,
Makarai,
Yashema,
Yashema,
Afnapashka,
Afnapashka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yashema,
Yashema,
Taza'afka,
Taza'afka,
Wabba Wa'afka,
Wabba
Wa'ita,
Wa'ita,
Wa'id Abalam, Wa'amah.
Wa'amah. In English, I will lift up mine eyes to the hills.
I will lift up mine eyes to the hills.
Whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help coming from Yahweh.
My help coming from Yahweh.
Which made heaven and earth.
Which made heaven and earth.
Do not suffer thy foot to be moved.
You do not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee.
He that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel.
he that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
Nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee.
Yahweh shall preserve thee
from all evil.
from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
And thy coming in.
and thy coming in.
From this time forward.
From this time forward.
And even forevermore.
And even forevermore.
So be it.
So be it. We're going to say Psalms 83. Alahaya,
Alahaya,
Adamai Laka,
Adamai Laka,
Atakarash,
Atakarash,
Ata Shakwat,
Al-Tashquat,
Al, Kayahanna,
Kayahanna,
Awiyabika,
Awiyabika,
Yahama Yawan,
Yahanna,
Wamana Shnayaka,
Wama Shanaika,
Na Shlaka, Nasha'awa,
Nasha'awa,
Ra'ash,
Ra'ash,
Al-Aimaka,
Al-Aimaka,
Yamwa,
Yamwa,
Sawa,
Sawa,
Wayatay Aitazawa,
Wayatay
Al-Tazapawanyaka,
Al-Tazapawanika,
Amawa,
Amaro,
the Kawa,
Lakawa,
Wanakakida,
Wanakakida,
Magaya,
Magalia,
Wala'ah,
Wala'ah,
Yazakar,
Yazakar,
Shamyasha,
Shamyasha,
Aiwa,
Aiwa,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Nama Aitazawa,
Aitazawa,
Lab,
La,
Yakadwa,
Yakadwa,
Al Yaka,
Ayaka,
Barya,
Barya,
Yakarathwa,
Yakarafa,
Ahalia,
Ahali,
Adawam,
Adawam,
Wayashama Alim,
Wayashma'ali,
Mawa'aba,
Mawa'awa,
Wahagaya,
Wagari,
Gabal,
Gabal,
Wa'aimawan,
Wa'aimawan,
Aimalak,
Wa'aimalak,
Halashah,
Halasha,
Aimishabia,
Amishabi,
Tazawal,
Tazawal,
Gamashawal,
Gamashawal,
Nalawa,
Nalawa,
Aimam,
Aimam,
Hayawa,
Ayawa,
Zawawai,
Zarawai,
Nabayalawat,
Nabayalawat,
Salah,
Salah,
Ashalaham,
Aishalaham,
Kamadi,
Kamadi,
Kasar Sarai,
Sai Sarai,
Kayabia,
Kayabi,
Manakol,
Manakal,
Yashua,
Yashua,
Nashimagwa,
Nashimago,
Ayenda Ira,
Ayana,
Hayawa,
Ayawa,
the Man,
Man,
Ladama,
Ladama,
Shaitamwa,
Shaitamwa,
Nadayamuwa,
Nadiyabawa,
Kaira,
Kaira,
because of Abba,
because of Abba,
because of Bak,
because of Bak,
because of Zamanai,
because of Zamanai,
Kanasai Kamwa,
Kaisai Kamwa,
Ashar,
Ashar,
Amawa,
Amaru,
Nairashah,
Nairashah,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Af, Nawa,
Nawa,
Alahaya,
Alahai,
Alahaya,
Alahaya,
Shaitamwa,
Shaitamwa,
Kagagala,
Kagagala,
Kakwash,
Kakwash,
the Payawakwa,
Panyarapa,
Kaash,
Ka'ash,
the Ira Yaira,
Iri,
Color Abba,
Kalaba,
Talahat,
Salahat,
Haryam,
Haryam,
Khan,
Khan,
the Adatma,
Irigatma,
Basa Iraka,
Basa Iraka,
Basa Bapaka,
Basu Paka,
Tabahalam,
Nabahalam,
Mala'ah,
Mala'ah,
Panyaham,
Panyaham,
Palawam,
Kwalawam,
Wayabakwasha,
Wayabakwasha,
Shamka,
Shamka,
Yahawa,
Yahweh,
Yabashra,
Yabashra,
Wayaba'al,
Wayaba'al,
Adi,
Ai,
Wayakapawa,
Wayakapawa,
Wayabadwa,
Wayabawa,
Wayadaiwa,
Wayadaiwa,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Ata,
Ata,
Shamka,
Shamka,
Yahawa,
Yahweh,
Nabaka,
Nabaka,
Ayawam,
Ayawam,
Al-Karatazah,
Al-Karatazah,
Tawada Amah.
Duwala. In English, keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still.
And be not still.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
For lo,
Lo,
thy enemies make a tumult.
thy enemies make a tumult.
And they that hate thee,
And they that hate thee,
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the
They
head.
have taken crafty counsel.
They have taken crafty counsel
Against thy people.
against thy people.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
They have said,
Come,
let us cut them off.
Let us cut them off.
Being a nation.
For being a nation.
In the name of Israel.
In the name of Israel.
So like it. Maybe no more remembrance.
Maybe no more remembrance.
But they are consulted together.
They are consulted together.
With one consent.
With one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against
The
thee.
tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom.
And the Ishmaelites.
And the Ishmaelites.
Moab.
Moab.
And the Hagarenes.
And the Hagarenes.
Gebal and Ammon.
Gebal and
And
Ammon.
Amalek.
And Amalek.
The Philistines.
Philistines.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
Asher is also joined with them.
Asher is also joined
For
with
they have
them.
opened the children of Lot.
They have opened the children of Lot.
Salah. Do unto them.
Do unto them.
As unto the Midianites.
As unto the Midianites.
As to Jabin.
As to Jabin.
As to
As to
Brick
Sisera.
Sham.
That's the brick of Sham.
As to Sisera.
As to Sarah.
As to Sarah.
As to Jabin.
As to Jabin.
At the brook of Kishon.
At the brook of Kishon.
Which perished at Endor.
Which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make the nobles like a reb.
Make the nobles like a reb.
It likes the ebb.
It likes the ebb.
Yea,
Yea.
all their princes.
All their princes.
As the Ba.
As the Ba.
And as the Muna.
As the Muna.
Who said,
Let
let us take to ourselves.
us take to ourselves
The house of Yahweh possession.
the house of Yahweh possession.
Hold my power.
Hold my power.
Make them like a wheel.
Make them like a wheel.
As the stubble before the wind.
As the stubble before the wind.
As the fire burneth the wood.
As the fire burneth the wood.
And as the flame set the mountains on fire.
As the flame sets the mountains on fire.
So persecute them.
So persecute
With
them
thy tempest.
with thy tempest.
And make them afraid.
And make them afraid.
With thy storm.
With thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame.
Fill their faces with shame.
That they may seek thy name.
That they may seek thy name.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
Let it be confounded.
Let it be
And
confounded.
trouble forever.
And trouble forever.
Yea.
Yea.
Let it be put to shame.
Let us be put to shame.
And perish.
And perish.
That men may know.
That men may know.
That thou.
That thou.
Whose name alone.
Whose name alone.
Is Yahweh.
Is Yahweh.
Like the Most High.
Like the Most High.
Over all the earth.
Over all the earth.
So be it.
So be it. We're going to say the blessings. Rakatha Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Why Yahweh Shai.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Why Mayaka Allah.
Wa Yahweh Allah.
Why Alahayim.
Wa Alahayim.
Matazabaya.
Matazabaya.
Alawap Yahanna.
Alawap Yahanna.
Alawapim.
Alawapim.
Asaranyam.
Hasaranyam.
Aquatis Youngin.
Aquatis Yanyam.
Haka Yayum.
Hakal Yanyam.
Waha Wati.
Wahawafim.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai.
Tuarama.
Tuarama.
In English, bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commander General Yahanna.
Commander General Yahanna.
The generals.
The generals.
The captains.
The captains.
The officers.
The officers.
The troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
Say the curses. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
All things living.
All things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
That speak against us.
That speak against us.
Thy prophets.
Thy prophets.
The teachers.
The teachers.
The princes.
The princes.
The priests.
The priests.
Israelite brothers.
The Israelite brothers.
And the school.
And the school.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
Punishment and destruction.
Punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
And shake loose.
And shake loose.
The treasures of the rich.
The treasures of the rich.
Of Israel.
Of Israel.
That refuse to give to the school.
That refuse to give to the school.
Force their riches.
Force their riches.
Enter into thy sanctuary.
Into thy sanctuary.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
Punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the Edomites.
To the Edomites.
And the nation.
And the nation.
And their drug dealers.
And their drug dealers.
Courses.
Prisons.
Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood.
All the governments of our enemies.
All the governments of our enemies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic Church.
Pope.
Pope.
Islam.
Christianity.
Egyptology.
Egyptology. Militia.
Ku Klux Klan.
Ku Klux Klan.
Aryan Nation.
Aryan Nation.
Skinheads. Posse
Comitatus.
Gay movement.
Gay movement.
The lesbian movement.
Lesbian movement.
Spies. Works of witchcraft.
Works of witchcraft.
NASA space program.
NASA space program.
Army. Navy. Air Force. Marines. Wall Street. Open up the internet.
Open up the internet.
And the airways.
And the airways.
Cable access channel.
Cable access channel.
And the radio channel.
And the radio channel.
Convict the spirit.
Convict the spirit.
Many of thy people.
Many of thy people.
And seek to stop us.
And seek to stop us.
And bring swift destruction.
And bring swift destruction.
To all the heathens.
To all the
That
heathens.
stand up in the way.
That stand up in the way.
Or try and stop us.
Or try and stop us.
From broadcasting your word.
Broadcasting your word.
Throughout the planet Earth.
Throughout the planet Earth.
Let loose all the plagues.
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 Cause them to go.
Cause them to go.
To and fro.
To and fro.
Through the earth.
Through the earth.
And consume them.
And consume them.
Let the plagues.
Let the plagues.
Take the house of the thief.
Take the house of the thief.
And the murderer.
And the murderer.
Let your house shine.
Let your house shine.
Michael and Gabriel.
Michael and Gabriel.
Come down with the flying saucer.
Come down with the flying saucer.
And punish them.
And punish them.
all the heathens.
All the heathens.
That come up against us.
That come up against us.
As we speak thy word.
As we speak thy word.
Cause it to be known.
Cause it to be known.
By all.
By all.
That is the angels that have done it.
That is the angels that have done it.
Cause it to be spread.
Cause it to be spread.
Through the media.
Through the media.
Throughout the whole world.
Throughout the whole world.
Cause them to shake thy coming.
Cause them to shake at thy
In
coming.
the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you always.
Thank you always.
So be it.
So be it. Saw, which means to turn, since you may be seated. Men of Israel, gird thy loins, prepare to salute the Torah.
Yahweh Shem Yahshua Brak Yah.
Yahweh Shem Yahshua Brak Yah. Yahweh Shem Yahshua Brak Yah.
Yahweh Shem Yahshua Brak Yah.
We'll give a courtesy salute to the teacher, men of Israel, I.S.U.P.K, Nehemiah, Rock,
Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah.
Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah.
Yahanna, Saw, which means a turn. Sisters, you may stand. Amayim. We'll give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, I.S.U.P.K, Nehemiah, Rock, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Yahanna, class dismissed.